The destruction was swift and brutal. Earth's first sign of the impending disaster was a massive, unprovoked attack on Earth's communication satellites. In a matter of hours, the world's communication networks were shattered, leaving humanity isolated. The Galactic Coalition, made up of dozens of powerful alien species, had decreed that Earth was too dangerous to remain part of the galaxy. The reasons were many: humanity's long history of war, the reckless use of technology, and their unpredictable nature made them a threat to the fragile peace that had been carefully maintained for millennia. On the surface, most of the galaxy's inhabitants were relieved. The Coalition declared that Earth was too unstable, too violent, and too rebellious to remain a member of galactic society. The exiled planet would no longer receive resources, trade, or any form of contact with the galactic community. It would be cut off completely, left to fend for itself. But humanity's leaders knew that this was not just a punishment. It was a death sentence. Without galactic support, Earth would be thrust into a new dark age, unable to sustain itself without the advanced technologies and resources it had long relied on. The news spread across the planet in a wave of shock and disbelief. Protests erupted in major cities as governments scrambled to find a way to communicate with the Galactic Council, but it was too late. The human race had been discarded. For the first time in history, Earth was utterly alone in the vast expanse of the universe. The days that followed were filled with chaos. Humanity had grown reliant on the technology and trade networks of the galaxy. The markets collapsed. Power grids failed. Food and water supplies dwindled. Nations that had long been allies were torn apart, fighting over dwindling resources. Governments crumbled, and large swaths of the population were left in the dark, unsure of how to survive. It seemed as though Earth was doomed to slowly wither and die. Yet, amidst the despair, something unexpected began to emerge: a sense of unity. People from all walks of life, from the poorest to the richest, from the most powerful leaders to the most humble citizens, began to see that survival was no longer a question of individual nations or alliances. It was a matter of human survival as a species. This sense of shared fate led to the formation of underground coalitions of scientists, engineers, and military strategists. These groups, hidden from the general population, began to work tirelessly to ensure that humanity would not simply fade into history. They pooled their knowledge and resources, studying ancient texts and experimenting with forgotten technologies to find a way to overcome the devastation they now faced. The world watched as some of its brightest minds worked in secret. These secret groups began to uncover relics of alien technology buried deep within Earth's crust, artifacts from the time when humanity had first made contact with other races. Though these pieces of technology were shrouded in mystery, they held the key to Earth's survival. Slowly, these hidden pioneers began to build the framework for a future that, at first, seemed impossible. The dream of escape, of rising from the ashes of their exile, became a goal that fueled their every effort. Even as Earth struggled, rumors spread. Some said that a group of sympathetic alien factions, seeing the injustice of the exile, were watching and waiting. Others whispered that humanity had not been abandoned entirely, that there were those among the stars who believed Earth had potential, despite its turbulent past. For now, however, humanity's focus remained on surviving. They would rebuild. They would fight back against their exile. The galaxy had cast them out, but it would learn to regret it. In the years that followed Earth's exile, the planet began to adapt to its harsh new reality. What had initially been a world on the brink of collapse was slowly rebuilding. Desperate times forced humanity to find new ways to survive. The fragmented governments and rogue factions that had once vied for power now began to cooperate, recognizing that their only hope for survival lay in unity. Dr. Sophia Hayes, one of the planet's leading physicists, was among the first to realize that Earth's future might not lie in the past. Rather, it was in the stars. The ancient alien artifact she discovered deep within an abandoned research facility near the Himalayas became the catalyst for Earth's revival. The artifact, a small metallic object covered in strange symbols, had baffled scientists for decades. It was an enigma, a relic from a time long before humanity's recorded history. Upon closer examination, Dr. Hayes realized that this was no ordinary object. It was a blueprint, an energy matrix, a key to unlocking new forms of technology far beyond anything humanity had ever imagined. With the help of her team, she began to decipher the artifact's secrets. It was a painstaking process, filled with trial and error, but the results were revolutionary. The artifact contained designs for a power source so advanced that it could solve Earth's energy crisis and allow for the construction of faster-than-light travel. The promise of this technology reignited hope in the hearts of Earth's people. As Dr. Hayes' work progressed, so did humanity's determination to reassert itself. New factions emerged, led by charismatic leaders who called for the restoration of Earth's place in the galaxy. The remnants of old militaries, combined with newly formed rebel groups, united to form a resistance movement not just for survival, but for vengeance against the galactic powers that had exiled them. While Dr. Hayes and her team worked tirelessly to develop the technology that would bring humanity back into the galactic fold, Earth's military began to regroup. Their fleet, though small and outdated, was bolstered by the development of powerful new weapons derived from the ancient alien technologies. These weapons were unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. Energy shields that could withstand the heaviest assaults, weapons that could melt through the strongest defenses, and propulsion systems capable of reaching the edges of the solar system in days, not years. But it wasn't just technology that would lead to humanity's resurgence. It was their will to overcome. The people of Earth, battered and broken, found strength in their shared history of adversity. They had once faced extinction from their own wars, their own arrogance, and their own mistakes. But now, they were united in a common cause. They had been abandoned by the galaxy, but that would not define them. They would define themselves. The first major victory came unexpectedly. A small fleet of Earth ships, heavily modified with the new alien technology, launched a daring raid on an isolated galactic relay station, one of the few remaining connections between Earth and the outside galaxy. The mission was supposed to be a one-way trip, but against all odds, humanity's ships managed to breach the station's defenses, secure valuable data, and escape without casualties. It was a monumental victory, not just in terms of strategy, but in symbolism. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and this first taste of triumph proved that Earth was not a planet to be forgotten. Word of the raid spread quickly, fueling Earth's resurgence. Other alien factions, previously indifferent or hostile, began to take notice. Some feared humanity's return, while others saw the potential for a powerful new ally. Despite being on the edge of galactic isolation, humanity had managed to strike a blow, and in doing so, reminded the galaxy that their exile was far from the end. Earth's rebuilding was only beginning. Dr. Hayes and her team's progress continued, and with each new breakthrough, humanity inched closer to its goal, the stars. After the raid on the galactic relay station, Earth's leaders began to see the possibilities of a new chapter in their history. Humanity, once considered a lost cause, was now sending ripples through the galaxy. Their small but victorious fleet, equipped with alien technology, had proven their capability, and it became clear that the galaxy underestimated the power of a united human race. Dr. Sophia Hayes' discoveries were advancing at a rapid pace. The breakthrough technology she had unlocked, a new form of energy propulsion, was tested successfully on a prototype ship that could travel between stars in mere days. The scientists working with her also found ways to adapt more of the ancient technology, and humanity's fleet began to grow rapidly. Earth was no longer just a prisoner on a forgotten world. It was becoming a power that could stand toe-to-toe with galactic powers. But as the human fleet gained strength, so did the attention of the galaxy's most dangerous forces. The first real test of humanity's new place in the galaxy came when they sought to re-establish contact with their former allies, those who had once shared knowledge with them in the early years of interstellar exploration. The target was a neutral planet, known as Hylaris, which served as a trading post for many species. Earth's ambassadors hoped to meet representatives from multiple alien factions there, offering a message of peace and cooperation. But what they didn't anticipate was that their first contact would be met with suspicion and hostility. As Earth's fleet arrived at the edge of Hylaris' system, they were greeted by a hostile force of ships, warlike and unyielding. The aliens were part of the Zerath, a militaristic species with a deep hatred for humanity. Decades earlier, the Zerath had warned the Galactic Council about Earth's unpredictable and violent tendencies. Now, seeing humanity's rising strength, they decided to crush the human ambition before it could grow into a real threat. A vicious space battle ensued, and though the Zerath had superior numbers and firepower, Earth's fleet was no longer the underdog. They fought with precision and cunning, using the alien technology they had acquired. The Zerath were caught off guard, but their military strategy and superior tactics pushed humanity's fleet to the brink. In the end, it was only a daring maneuver by a human captain, Captain Elias Ford, who led a small strike team to disable the Zerath flagship's main weapon, tipping the balance in humanity's favor. After the battle, the galaxy's view of Earth changed dramatically. Some species saw humanity as a dangerous power that could threaten the galactic order. Others, like the Seraphs, an ancient, peace-loving race, saw the potential for cooperation. The Seraphs had long known of Earth's exile, and they understood that humanity's fight for survival was a testament to their resilience. They reached out to Dr. Hayes, offering humanity their most advanced knowledge and a seat at the table of galactic diplomacy. This new opportunity came at a price. As Earth's leaders debated the offer, a shocking revelation emerged. The Zerath had not acted alone. In fact, a powerful faction within the Galactic Council, which had orchestrated Earth's exile in the first place, had secretly given the Zerath permission to attack. The revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's government. A hidden conspiracy to keep humanity down had been operating for years, and it was now clear that Earth's rise would not be accepted without opposition. But the betrayal also sparked a fierce determination in humanity's heart. They had already been betrayed once. They wouldn't let it happen again. Dr. Hayes' team worked with the Seraphs to accelerate the development of Earth's technological arsenal, while Earth's leaders formed an alliance with other oppressed species across the galaxy. Humanity would no longer be a pawn in the hands of the powerful. It would take its place among the stars, by force if necessary. As Earth's fleet continued to grow, the first seeds of a new alliance were sown, and humanity's voice began to echo across the galaxy. The game had changed. The galactic powers who had once cast them aside now had to reckon with the rising force that was humanity. As humanity's fleet strengthened, Earth's leadership made a bold decision. They would not simply defend their planet, but actively seek to reshape the galaxy. The events at Hylaris were a wake-up call. If humanity was to survive and thrive in the galactic community, it would need allies. They could no longer afford to play the role of the passive victim. The first step was forging strong alliances with species who had shared Earth's pain: the oppressed, the betrayed, and the disenfranchised. The Seraphs, now humanity's most trusted ally, proved invaluable. With their knowledge of galactic politics and their sophisticated diplomacy, they helped Earth navigate the complex web of interstellar relations. They introduced humanity to the Iskarans, a peaceful but technologically advanced race that had long been neutral in galactic conflicts. The Iskarans, though wary of the new human presence, saw the value in having another voice among the galaxy's growing number of discontent factions. The Iskarans shared their knowledge of bioengineering, providing Earth with medical advancements that helped heal the war-torn populations. The alliance began to grow. Next came the Aquari, an amphibious species from a distant ocean world, who had long been subjugated by the Zerath. The Zerath's brutal tactics had devastated the Aquarian homeworld, and they were eager to join humanity's cause in exchange for protection and resources. Earth now found itself at the heart of a new coalition, one forged not out of shared history or ideology, but from the fire of common adversity. The coalition became known as the United Front of the Exiled. Humanity's reputation as fierce warriors who could fight back against overwhelming odds spread like wildfire. The news of the victory over the Zerath at Helaris galvanized other factions that had been neutral or even hostile. The Kolzar, a technologically advanced insectoid species, were intrigued by Earth's ability to turn the tide in battle. They proposed an alliance, offering Earth their superior intelligence and data-gathering technology. In exchange, Earth offered protection and shared military strategies. The Kolzar's scouting and reconnaissance capabilities became crucial in identifying galactic power shifts and detecting threats long before they could strike. By the time Earth's military had completed its repairs and rearming, it was clear that they were no longer the underdog. With the new alliances in place, the human fleet set its sights on the Zerath, determined to send a message that humanity would no longer be threatened or ignored. The next major test came when Earth's fleet joined the Ascarans, Aquari, and Kolzar in a coordinated strike against a Zarath stronghold deep within their territory. The Zerath had fortified the planet with heavy defenses, expecting an attack from the outside. But Earth's new allies had provided key intelligence that would allow them to bypass the Zerath's outer defenses. It would be a fight for control of the planet, and humanity's largest military operation since their exile. The operation was bold, and the risks were high. If they failed, it could mean the end of the United Front. The Zerath's retaliation would be swift and devastating. But if they succeeded, they would cripple one of the galaxy's most fearsome empires and send a clear message to any would-be oppressors. Earth and its allies were not to be underestimated. The battle that ensued was brutal. Human ingenuity and the tactical brilliance learned from their allies allowed them to infiltrate Zerath lines and cut off their reinforcements. The Zerath, taken aback by the coordinated strikes from multiple species, found themselves overwhelmed. It was a victory born of collaboration and trust, something the galaxy had never seen before. As the dust settled, the Zerath stronghold lay in ruins. Earth's forces and their allies had not only won the battle, but they had proved a point. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting. The galaxy now understood that Earth, once exiled and forgotten, had become a force to be reckoned with. But while this victory was significant, the true challenge still lay ahead. The Galactic Council, whose members had long feared Earth's rise, would not remain passive. There were powerful factions that still viewed humanity as a threat, and they would stop at nothing to undermine the new alliances and reset the balance of power. After the stunning victory over the Zerath stronghold, Earth and its allies began to make their mark on the galactic stage. But the tide of galactic politics was not so easily swayed. While the victory brought them temporary relief, it also sparked the attention of the galaxy's most powerful and influential factions. There was a growing realization that the human race, once relegated to the fringes of galactic history, was quickly becoming a key player, and not everyone welcomed this shift. The Galactic Council, a governing body composed of the most dominant species in the galaxy, convened in secret to discuss the threat that humanity now posed. The Council had been responsible for Earth's exile, and they had worked to suppress any efforts of its resurgence. The sudden rise of Earth's military, the alliances they had formed, and the display of their raw fighting prowess were seen as a serious disruption to the established order. The Council had long maintained a delicate balance of power, and the unexpected rise of an exiled species was too volatile to ignore. In a rare and unprecedented move, the Council decided to act. They began to subtly orchestrate a series of covert operations designed to destabilize Earth's newfound alliances. The first signs of trouble came when a series of sabotage attacks rocked key military installations across Earth and its ally planets. Key leaders in the United Front were assassinated in the dark corners of space, and intelligence networks were compromised. Earth's fleet, despite its growing strength, was not immune to the galaxy's undercurrent of treachery. It was the Kolzar who first alerted Earth's leadership to the threat. Their superior intelligence networks detected unusual movements within the Council's ranks, undercover operatives working to subvert Earth's influence. But the Kolzar weren't the only ones watching. The Seraphs, known for their diplomatic skills, warned that there were factions within the Council who were attempting to rally a coalition against Earth, hoping to contain the rising threat before it grew too powerful. Dr. Sophia Hayes, who had been spearheading humanity's technological renaissance, found herself drawn into the heart of this political storm. Her breakthrough technology, the very power sources that had allowed Earth's ships to achieve faster-than-light travel, had become a valuable commodity. And as with all valuable resources, there were those who would stop at nothing to seize control of it. A covert operation, spearheaded by a faction within the Galactic Council, targeted Dr. Hayes herself. A bounty was placed on her head, and a shadow war began to simmer behind the scenes. Despite the growing tension, Earth's leadership did not back down. Instead, they prepared for the coming storm. The United Front's members held secret meetings, formulating a strategy not just for survival, but for pushing back against the galactic powers that sought to limit their influence. It was clear that humanity's future in the galaxy was at stake, and the stakes had never been higher. Earth's military leaders, Captain Elias Ford chief among them, knew that it was only a matter of time before the Galactic Council would make its move. Humanity's fleet, though powerful, was still outnumbered and outgunned. They would need to forge new alliances, ones that could tip the balance in their favor. As the galaxy's largest powers quietly mobilized, Earth's leaders reached out to other civilizations that had remained neutral or hidden from the Council's control. Meanwhile, Dr. Hayes worked tirelessly to perfect the technology that had first sparked humanity's rise. The alien artifacts she had discovered held many secrets still to be uncovered, and if she could unlock the full potential of their power, it could turn the tide in humanity's favor. But as the pressures mounted, she was forced to make a difficult decision. Should she stay on Earth and finish her work, knowing that the galaxy's most dangerous factions were hunting her, or should she take the fight to them, using the technology to bring the war to the heart of galactic power? The answer was unclear, but the gathering storm was undeniable. The galaxy was closing in on Earth, and the exiled world would either rise to challenge the oppressive powers of the Council or be crushed beneath the weight of their unrelenting control. It was clear now. The battle for humanity's place in the stars was just beginning. As Earth's enemies in the Galactic Council maneuvered in the shadows, plotting their next move, humanity found itself caught in a web of political intrigue, subterfuge, and escalating warfare. The United Front, bolstered by their hard-won alliances, was now fighting a multifaceted war, one of military battles in the stars and another on the ground, where trust between allies was tested and strained. The delicate balance of power was shifting once again, and the price of humanity's newfound strength was becoming clear. Captain Elias Ford, the leader who had helped secure so many victories for Earth's military, found himself at the center of a growing conspiracy. Reports surfaced that a faction within the Kolzar, one of their most trusted allies, had been compromised. Some Kolzar leaders were suspected of secretly working with the Galactic Council, feeding them information that would destabilize the United Front. Earth's military intelligence confirmed that these traitors were responsible for the recent sabotage attacks that had crippled key Earth installations. The revelations were devastating. The Kolzar had been Earth's most dependable allies, and their betrayal cut deep. Ford, a seasoned soldier who had long trusted the Kolzar, was forced to confront the harsh reality that not all alliances could be trusted. But in the heat of war, there was little time to process the personal betrayal. Earth needed to act quickly and decisively to root out the traitors and prevent further damage to their coalition. Meanwhile, Dr. Sophia Hayes, unaware of the full extent of the conspiracy unfolding on Earth, continued her work with the alien technologies. As her understanding of the ancient artifacts deepened, she realized that there were more complex systems hidden within them. Systems that could allow humanity to harness unimaginable power. But the cost of such power was becoming apparent. The more she unlocked, the more she realized that these technologies were not just tools of creation, but also weapons of mass destruction. Her research revealed the existence of a device, an ancient weapon capable of annihilating entire fleets in the blink of an eye. The device was buried within the heart of one of the largest artifacts humanity had recovered, and activating it would require an immense amount of energy. Dr. Hayes understood that the weapon could be a game-changer in the fight against the Galactic Council, but the implications of using it were terrifying. If Earth were to deploy this weapon, it could annihilate entire civilizations in the galaxy. Civilians, innocent lives caught in the crossfire. The decision weighed heavily on her conscience. She knew that the galaxy had wronged humanity, but the prospect of becoming what they had once despised, the very thing they had fought against, terrified her. Would the weapon truly bring peace, or would it only create more enemies, setting the stage for an endless cycle of violence? As tensions within the United Front grew, Dr. Hayes was forced to make a difficult decision. Earth had come too far to turn back, but at what cost? The weapon represented a last resort, something to be used only when all other options had failed. Yet, with the Galactic Council tightening its grip, that time might come sooner than anyone realized. Captain Ford, for his part, was determined to uncover the Kolzar traitors before their information could reach the Council. With the betrayal of one of their most trusted allies, Earth's military was now engaged in an internal struggle as well as an external one. Time was of the essence. If they didn't root out the infiltrators soon, the entire coalition could collapse, and humanity's hard-fought gains would be lost. The war was escalating, and every decision, every move, would cost more than they could afford. Earth had already paid a high price for its power, and as the looming threat of galactic retaliation grew, humanity had to decide just how far they were willing to go to secure their place in the stars. As the war for control of the galaxy continued, Earth's position became increasingly precarious. The revelation of betrayal within the Kolzar ranks hit humanity hard, shaking the foundation of their alliances. Tensions within the United Front were high, and the trust that had been so carefully built between species now hung by a thread. The betrayal had emboldened the Galactic Council, and they wasted no time in using the instability to their advantage. The first wave of the Council's counteroffensive was swift and brutal. Without warning, the Zerath, once thought defeated, launched a series of devastating raids on Earth's outer colonies. Entire colonies were obliterated in a matter of hours, their populations wiped out in one fell swoop. It was clear that the Council, now unified under a banner of fear, was mobilizing everything they had to stamp out Earth's influence before it could spread any further. Humanity's fragile alliances began to crack under the pressure. The Iskarans, though sympathetic to Earth's plight, hesitated to fully commit their forces. The Aquari, still recovering from the scars of the Zerath's previous attacks, retreated into their oceanic world, unwilling to engage in a full-scale war. The Kolzar, whose betrayal had undermined Earth's strategic position, withdrew support entirely. Humanity was now on its own, facing the full force of galactic opposition. In the wake of these defeats, Captain Elias Ford was tasked with organizing a counterattack. Leading a desperate, ragtag fleet made up of the last remnants of Earth's forces, he moved quickly to reclaim the outer colonies and establish new strongholds. It was a bitter struggle, and Earth's forces found themselves outgunned and outnumbered. The strategic advantage once held by Earth's military seemed like a distant memory. For the first time since their exile, humanity found itself on the verge of complete collapse. But Earth's resilience was not so easily extinguished. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Sophia Hayes made a decision that would change everything. She activated the ancient weapon she had discovered, the ultimate weapon capable of obliterating fleets and shifting the balance of power. It was a terrifying prospect, but with humanity's survival hanging in the balance, she saw no other choice. The weapon, powered by the energy matrix she had been studying, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. When unleashed, it tore through the space around it, annihilating entire fleets of Zerath warships with a single strike. The blast sent shockwaves across the galaxy, alerting every faction to the devastating power humanity now possessed. In an instant, Earth had shifted the balance of power, but at an unfathomable cost. The weapon's destructive capabilities were so overwhelming that it left behind a trail of devastation on both sides. Dr. Hayes and the leadership of Earth had crossed a line. The weapon had not only dealt a heavy blow to their enemies, but had forever altered the way the galaxy viewed humanity. No longer were they seen as the exiled underdogs, but as a species willing to wield immense power, whether for good or ill. Earth's allies, still reeling from the consequences of the weapon's deployment, began to question their loyalty. But in the face of overwhelming adversity, a new hope was born. Captain Ford, realizing the gravity of the situation, rallied humanity's remaining forces for a final push. He knew that if Earth was to survive this war, they would need to unite not just with their allies, but with their enemies as well. He sent out a message to every faction in the galaxy. Humanity has been forged in the fires of betrayal, war, and exile. We've seen the cost of power, but we've also seen the price of peace. If you stand with us, we will rise again. If you stand against us, we will fight with everything we have left. As the message broadcast across the stars, the galaxy held its breath. The fate of humanity, once on the brink of annihilation, now rested on a delicate balance. Would the galaxy accept Earth's rise as a legitimate force for peace, or would they crush them once and for all? Captain Elias Ford's message echoed across the galaxy, its words reverberating through the hearts of countless species. Earth had made its stand, and now the galaxy was faced with a choice. Would it recognize humanity as an equal, or would it try to erase the fledgling superpower that had defied every expectation? The battle lines had been drawn, and Earth's future was now uncertain. The response from the galactic factions was mixed. Some saw humanity's strength as a sign of hope, an opportunity to break free from the chains of an oppressive galactic council that had kept them in check for millennia. The Seraphs, still loyal to Earth, reaffirmed their support, offering their wisdom and influence in the Galactic Council to broker peace. The Iskarans, shaken by the recent conflict but moved by humanity's resilience, agreed to stand by Earth's side, though they cautioned against further escalation. But there were those who saw Earth's rise as a direct challenge to their long-established dominance. The Zerath, enraged by their defeat and humiliated by humanity's weapon, began to rally the more militaristic factions of the Council, preparing for all-out war. The Kolzar, now fractured by internal conflict, struggled to rebuild their fractured leadership, but their loyalty, once absolute, had been shattered, and they remained divided on whether to continue their support of humanity. As Earth's leaders gathered in their command center to discuss their next move, Dr. Sophia Hayes came forward with a startling proposal. She had discovered a hidden message within the ancient technology she had unlocked, an encrypted signal from the creators of the artifacts. The message revealed the existence of an even greater power hidden deep within the galaxy, a network of advanced, dormant weapons capable of shaping the future of galactic civilizations. It was a dangerous discovery, one that could either be a weapon for humanity's use or a Pandora's box that could destroy everything they had fought for. While the leaders debated the implications of such a revelation, the Galactic Council made its move. A coalition of factions, led by the Zerath, launched a surprise attack on Earth's capital planet. With their overwhelming numbers, they managed to breach Earth's outer defenses, landing troops on the surface. It seemed as though humanity's rise had been halted before it could truly begin. But humanity had learned to never surrender. With the full might of their fleet and the newly forged alliances at their side, Earth's military struck back. The battle that ensued on Earth's surface was brutal, but it was a turning point. Captain Ford, leading the charge, rallied his forces with an unwavering determination. He knew that the fate of humanity and the future of the galaxy depended on this moment. As the battle raged on, Dr. Hayes made the decision to activate the hidden technology she had uncovered, hoping that it would provide the key to ending the conflict once and for all. In an unprecedented act, she activated a network of ancient devices scattered across the galaxy, sending out a pulse that disrupted the weapon systems of the attacking forces. The pulse crippled the Zereth fleet, rendering their weapons useless and forcing their retreat. The victory was hard-earned, and the cost had been immense. Earth's surface was scared by the conflict, and many lives had been lost. But the message was clear. Humanity would not back down. They had risen from exile, forged alliances, and proven themselves on the battlefield. The galaxy had witnessed their power, and Earth had earned its place among the stars. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council, now fractured and weak, was forced to reconsider its stance. It could no longer afford to ignore the new force that had emerged. Negotiations began, and while the road to lasting peace would be long and difficult, humanity's role in shaping the future of the galaxy was assured. Earth, once exiled and forgotten, had become the nucleus of a new galactic order. The rise of humanity was not just a victory for one species, but for all those who had suffered under the tyranny of the Council. The galaxy was changing, and with humanity at the helm, a new era of peace, prosperity, and unity began to take shape. The stars had always been humanity's destiny. Now, at long last, they were home.